Content. Parental discretion is advised.
The following program contains graphic, real-life footage of animals attacking people. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Now stay with us as we find out what happens when animals attack.
I may have ran 10 yards or so before the bear was on me, and the pain is just incredible.
And when I sat up, I knew instantly I was attacked by a shark, and I was pregnant, and I thought for sure I got the baby.
But I turned, and the bear was in my face. And a tooth went into the skull, and that's where my eye popped out of the eye socket.
I just felt the bite, in my side here, and then there's a lot of blood in the sea.
I knew there was imminent danger. My grandson was going to be killed in front of my eyes.
The bear grabbed him by the leg, his mouth around his upper thigh, and sank his teeth in all the way. The teeth met.
And if you're ready, get around, my Nick. Yes, head done.
As I was looking through the camera, I just knew in my mind that I was videoing my husband being killed.
Good evening, and welcome to the second edition of When Animals Attack. Tonight, you're going to see some frightening home video footage of animals attacking people when they least expect it, plus some riveting true-life stories about how terrifying, devastating, and deadly animal attacks can be. A note of caution, many of the scenes you're about to see were filmed during actual attacks. As a result, they are both violent and graphic. So again, viewer discretion is advised. We begin with a professional bear trainer in Montana, working in a cage with an animal he's worked with many times before.
The trainer is hitting the bear on the snout, his attempt to make it behave, when suddenly the bear attacks. The speed and power of the bear are overwhelming. The trainer is lucky. The bear's reaction to his training methods could have easily gotten him killed.
When animals attack, there's almost always a reason. When we invade an animal's natural habitat, threaten its food supply, or endanger its young, we put ourselves at risk. Bears can be especially deadly when their young are threatened. Here's a chilling story about a group of land surveyors who did just that and nearly paid with their lives.
After a day of surveying in the Alaskan wilderness, Kyle Scholl and fellow surveyors Diane Nelson and John Pex were hiking out to meet the helicopter that would take them home.
It was actually a nice day. The weather was clear, and that was always important for us. And we had been seeing lots of bears in the Lake Iliamna area, so, we're being cautious.
They had no idea they were about to experience a vicious animal attack.
We're probably all within a 100-foot circle, maybe 150-foot circle. We're all close, so we could see each other. Basically, I couldn't see Kyle, but I could see Diane. Diane could see both of us.
Being sort of athletic and whatnot, I sort of wanted to be first, and I was always trudging ahead.
It's this way!
Kyle led the way, Diane was in the middle, and John was bringing up the rear. He had the only gun.
As soon as I said, "Hey, Diane, I'll see you at the clearing," I started approaching this little depression with this thick grass in it. All of a sudden, out from that grass burst these bears.
Bear! He went, bear! And all of a sudden, I look over where he's at, and I can see him through the brush, and I saw a large bear kind of stand up and woof, and then Kyle starts running back towards me.
My only instinct was, I got to get back to where John was with the gun. and I may have ran 10 yards or so before the bear was on me.
Realizing Kyle was in trouble, Diane called to John for help.
John, Sam, bring the gun! I wanted to help Kyle. That was really my first reaction. I didn't feel threatened. All of a sudden, there is a bear on Kyle, and I wanted to help him.
It never dawned on me that somebody was actually being attacked at that point in time. I figured there was a bear scaring the tar out of him.
But Kyle was fighting for his life with a 700-pound Alaskan grizzly bear.
And the pain is just incredible as she's ripping this tack off of me and finally getting her teeth into some flesh, just slamming as hard as somebody could possibly hit you in the back. But it was a mouth and teeth. I figured that was it. My God, she's killing me.
Without a weapon, Diane knew she couldn't stop the attack, so she tried to distract the bear.
Hang in there, John! And I just kept the chant going. I went, John, bring the gun over here. Bring the gun. There's a bear on Kyle. There's a bear on Kyle.
The grizzly left Kyle and turned its deadly rage on Diane.
But I turned, and the bear was in my face. She caught this part of my head where a tooth went under the brow line, and a tooth went into the skull, and that's where my eye popped out of the eye socket.
When John finally arrived, there was only one thing he could do.
You know, I instantly pulled up and shot. And the only thought was, keep it high. I didn't want to hit her. But yeah, I fired really fast. I mean, I pulled that gun up and I shot it just almost instantaneously.
John's first shot caused the bear to drop Diane. But then the raging animal charged at him. He only had 4 bullets left.
And I shot it in the left eye with the next shot. And that just forced its head down. And it was so close by then, it was probably less than 15 feet. Got another shot off and I broke the neck. I shot basically right under the jaw and I broke the neck. And if the bear hadn't been coming uphill towards me, some momentum probably would have carried it right over the top of me.
As John went to help Diane, he still didn't know that Kyle had also been attacked.
He walked into where I could see him and his whole scalp was down on his shoulder. I could walk up and I could tap his skull just like if you were holding a ball or something. You know, that was the bare bone.
When their helicopter finally arrived, the 3 surveyors were airlifted to a nearby hospital for treatment. Kyle would require 4,000 stitches and skin grafts from his legs to close his wounds. Diane would need 2,000 stitches and surgery to repair the damage to her eye.
Normally, bears don't attack people. We're not what one would consider their normal food item. However, when people do survive a bear attack, in almost every instance, they say that there were cubs around or that they surprised the bear and they didn't see the bear until it was already on top of them.
I do feel lucky that I was able to survive a wild animal attack. Part of that luck was that John had the gun that day, and so he was able to run through the woods and kind of save the day.
I think I'm probably one of the luckiest people around to have sustained that much damage to my head and my body and still be talking.
If I hadn't killed the bear with that last shot, there's a good chance we would all ended up dead.
A person that survives a bear attack is extremely lucky. You're looking at an animal that is built for power, grace, and speed. And they can tear apart huge logs with their claws, and their canines can crush a human skull.
Still to come, a furious deer attack, a terrible twist by an angry alligator, and a vicious pit bull attacks an animal control officer. All on When Animals Attack.
When Animals Attack 2 is brought to you by Subway, the way a sandwich should be.
It's the way a house smells when there's bread baking in the oven. The way mothers make sandwiches just right. It's the way we try to know each of our customers by name, or at least by sandwich. And it's the way all your favorite things combine into something even better, right before your eyes. It's probably why people rate us #1 in quality, survey after survey, even though it can be hard to answer questions with your mouth full. Subway. It's the way a sandwich should be.
It's a closer kind of world. All the more reason for a whole new kind of Arid.
Solid here.
Turns clear here.
Wow.
New Arid Ultra Clear.
Let me try that.
New Arid Ultra Clear gets you closer with the strongest anti-odor, anti-wetness ingredient ever.
Amazing.
Solid protection that turns clear the instant it touches your skin.
Ever seen anything like it?
Get a little closer with the solid that turns clear from Arid. New Ultra Clear. Education.
Give Cesar your book so he can read.
Intimidation.
187, that's the police code for homicide.
Violence.
What you gonna do?
Destruction.
Are you finished?
There's nothing more you can do to me.
Murder.
We can't expect the system to protect us.
You know what to do. Leave me alone! The things it takes for some people to finally get it.
And don't you feel safer with Benny gone?
Samuel L. Jackson, 187. Rated R. Starts Wednesday, July 30th at a theater near you.
The regular season is just too long.
No, the off-season's too long.
Cookies! Say, you know, I think our neighbor might like one, too.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Got milk?
Some say aliens live among us. Others claim they're approaching. Fox says, reach out and make contact. Ooh, aliens, it's scary. It's Fox's Alien Invaders Week, featuring the X-Files and the world premiere of Alien Nation, the Udara Legacy. Plus, specials like UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape, and prophecies of the millennium. Hey, get to know your future neighbor with Fox's Alien Invaders Week starting Sunday, because Fox believes invasion should be fun.
Fox's Summer Blast is brought to you by Slurpee.
The coolest drink on earth.
Only at 7-Eleven.
Oh, thank heaven.
As we all know, dogs can be man's best friend, loyal and loving companions to young and old alike. But depending on how certain dogs are trained, bred, or abused, they can also be vicious attackers, capable of inflicting serious, even fatal wounds in a matter of seconds. We turn now to what can happen when pet dogs attack. First up, the story of an animal control officer in Los Angeles who was simply trying to do her job when she met up with a pit bull trained to kill.
On June 22, 1987, Florence Crowell had been an animal control officer for 5 years. She was responding to a complaint about a pit bull attack on a landlord and his 7-year-old daughter.
On that day, I got a call for a vicious dog at large. As an animal control officer, we normally patrol the area and I couldn't see the dog, so I went to the location.
When Florence arrived, she discovered a news crew from KCBS in Los Angeles had heard about the complaint and was already on the scene.
The owner of the dog, at that time, she didn't open the door, but she did speak to me through the door, and she said that she was willing to talk to me, but she wanted the news crews to get off her property.
But before the TV crew could leave, there would be a heated argument.
The door was open!
She became upset, telling me that no one would take the animal, that she would leave with the dog, and that she was coming out of the house with the dog, and if anything occurred, it would be not her responsibility.
Benjamin's coming out, so if you don't want to get bitten, you'd better get out of here.
I felt that if she did come out, that there was no way that I could control as far as what the animal would do, because I knew that the dog had been trained to kill. All I could see was teeth coming after me. The only thing I could do to protect myself was to raise my arm or try to turn away. And he was trained to kill because he was jumping and trying to get my neck area. Only thing I could think of is that a feeling of being helpless, and actually I felt that I was going to die.
I told you to stay away from me. Get in the car.
Call 911 and get the paramedics.
The dog owner was convicted of 3 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, 1 count of improperly caring for a vicious animal, and served 180 days in a psychiatric hospital. Florence spent 5 days in the hospital with severe lacerations to her breast and chest. The bones in her left hand were crushed.
After the accident with the dog, I felt that I couldn't perform my job as an animal control officer, and I had a certain fear for the animal too.
Florence never returned to her job as an animal control officer. After being impounded for 2 years, the pit bull was destroyed. His owner died of a heart attack 2 years later.
When pet dogs attack, it's usually because they've been specifically trained or abused by their owners. The results, as we've just seen, can be horrifying. Here now is some startling home video footage of an attack that took place earlier this year in France. This time the attackers are Rottweilers, and the victim is an unsuspecting teenager walking home from sports practice.
The 16-year-old French boy is helpless as he's attacked by 2 dogs weighing more than 65 pounds each. It took several minutes for their owner and 2 passers-by to restrain the dogs.
I was on my way home, and I saw the 2 dogs, and the male saw me. When he got to where I was, he jumped me and bit me. Then the female knocked me down, and I called for help and everything. And then someone came and helped me, and he also got bitten.
The victim was later admitted to a hospital where he received numerous stitches to close the wounds in his arms and legs.
According to the Humane Society, there are more than 4 million pet dog attacks each year in the United States, and most of them are on children. But what if pet dogs viciously attacked an unsuspecting child, and instead of the dogs being punished, the child's parents were? Sound impossible? Not in 1989, not in Texas. Here's the story.
Emory, Texas, just outside Dallas, was the scene of an excruciating family tragedy for Debbie Lovelace and her common-law husband, John Miller. On the morning of January 4th, 1989, John was working on a project next door while Debbie's 4-year-old daughter, April Tucker, played outside. Debbie finished up her chores at the house and went down to help John with the project.
I asked him where April was because she wasn't around anywhere. And he said he hadn't seen her. So I went outside to call for her. And I could hear something in the distance. I thought she was up in the field playing. And I told her to come to the house.
But April never came. When John and Debbie went looking for her, they found her at the base of a tree.
And when I seen her, she didn't have any clothes on. She was laying on her stomach.
There was a big gash torn out of her leg. And I immediately knew that she was in deep trouble.
John had been trained as a paramedic and immediately began to administer first aid to April.
And I said, April, what happened? And she said, dogs did it. That was the first time I had an inclination of what happened.
April was rushed to the hospital, but she had lost so much blood that tragically she died on the operating table.
Her body had took all it could take, and she went into a second shock. And they couldn't save her. They tried, but they couldn't do anything.
What happened next stunned the grief-stricken parents. Prosecutors said April had not been killed by dogs. They claimed she had been murdered by her parents.
I felt horrible when they didn't believe anything that we said. I just couldn't understand it. Because we were telling the truth, and it's like it didn't matter what we said.
When defense lawyers couldn't produce autopsy photos to prove that April had been killed by dogs, John and Debbie were convicted of murder.
When they said guilty, we both just stood there, just kind of rock still.
The couple spent 4 years in prison, all the while insisting on their innocence.
Well, all 4 years I was in prison, I wrote the governor, I wrote legislators, I wrote congressmen, I wrote anybody that I thought might listen.
Finally, Debbie and John got a break. Texas attorney Robert Artis agreed to appeal their case. Then 26 injury and autopsy photos were found in the back of a desk and entered into evidence.
And then I could see paw prints. I could see where the canine teeth had been embedded, and that convinced me that there had to be some animal involved in this.
5 nationally respected forensics experts agreed and would testify that April had been killed by dogs.
They looked at these pictures and they told me the dogs had actually done it to her. And that gave me hope that somehow or another that the truth was going to come out and we were going to get to go home.
On December 15th, 1993, Debbie and John's convictions were overturned, and they were set free.
It was a situation where people do not want to believe that kids can be killed or injured by their pets around the house, and they can be and are.
John and Debbie broke off their relationship while in prison, and both have since remarried. Their new spouses are police officers. They would like their story to serve as a warning to others.
Number one, never trust animals. 100%. I mean, trust them, baby them. I've got a dog now that's a big baby as you'll ever see. But I will never 100% trust an animal.
Well, I'd like people to know that we are innocent of what they said that we did. That not to believe that things like this couldn't happen to them, because it can happen to anybody.
Still ahead, a sudden shark attack, a deadly charge by a raging bull, and a dangerous encounter with an alligator. All on When Animals Attack.
Fox, safe at home. Brought to you by Listerine Toothpaste.
1892, toothpaste is invented. 1955, fluoride. 1985, tartar control. Now, tartar control toothpaste from Listerine that keeps fighting germs for a long-lasting clean. Introducing Cool Mint Listerine Tartar Control toothpaste. Its germ-killing formula keeps fighting germs even after you stop brushing, so that clean feeling lasts. Finally, new Cool Mint Listerine Tartar Control toothpaste. Strong on germs, long on clean.
I've traveled so much recently, I have to read a scorecard to remember what team I'm on. Reading is a serious matter. If you can't read, you can't get ahead in life. It's crucial that young people stay in school and learn how to read. If you're having trouble with your reading, ask about getting a tutor. You can't tell the players without a scorecard, and you can't succeed in life without reading.
Violence. Don't play that game.
This fall, if you like ER and NYPD Blue, you'll love the next generation of television drama. 413 Hope Street, coming Thursdays to Fox.
Phew, that smell! It's my sweaty, smelly feet.
You need Odor Reader's foot powder. It can dry up 25 times more wetness than talc. And only Odor Reader's has Arm & Hammer baking soda. These Dr. Scholl's don't.
Nice and dry.
Odor Reader's foot powder.
From Gramercy Pictures, Bill Bellamy.
I'm what you might call a player.
Natalie DeSalle.
You a beast about to get busted.
Gilbert Gottfried.
I'm not busy tonight.
A.J. Johnson. J. Anthony Brown.
Look at them, like two big M&Ms sitting over there.
Bernie Mac.
What's that smell?
What smell?
And Max Julian as the original player. Def Jam's How to Be a Player. Soundtrack on Def Jam Records. Directed by Lionel C. Martin. Rated R. Opens Wednesday, August 6th at theaters everywhere.
Did you think I wouldn't find out?
Is this about the ring I gave you? Listen, a cubic zirconia looks just like a real diamond.
You drank the last of the milk.
Got milk?
Lads, beg, roll over, sit, sit, sit.
Even the best trained pets can leave tough odors in your carpet. So get Arm & Hammer Carpet and Room Deodorizer with the power of baking soda. Look, our odor detector shows strong pet odors. Then we use Super Pet Fresh. It doesn't just cover up odors like ordinary deodorizers. See? It eliminates them with baking soda. No buts about it. If you've got pets in a carpet, you need Arm & Hammer Pet Fresh.
Fetch.
See why the critics love Roar. It's the stuff of summer blockbuster movies. A breathtaking adventure. Roar. Next on Fox.
When animals attack, there's usually a reason, but there's seldom any warning, just the shocking aftermath of a sudden event. Watch what happens when a team of experienced handlers try to move an ornery alligator from one pen to another.
The gator snaps as one man attempts to put a noose over its head. Then the animal tries to twist away as they enter the other pen. Now watch what happens when the alligator suddenly flips over again, taking the handler and his arm with it.
Push the alligator down.
No.
In a single unexpected move, the powerful alligator inflicts a painful and debilitating injury.
Just as there are dangers in the deep, there are also wonderful surprises. We sent our cameras to the Red Sea in Egypt for this next story about a man who was attacked by a shark and saved in a most unusual way.
On July 22, 1996, Martin Richardson of Essex, England, was vacationing at the Gulf of Aqaba in Egypt. He and a friend had been taking scuba diving lessons.
It was the third day of the course. It was the first time that I'd really gone down to 6 or 7 meters and actually had a proper dive, really.
On their way back to port after the dive, the group decided to go back in the water to swim with some dolphins.
We got round the corner on the northern side of Marsa Baraka, and we saw a pod of dolphins, 4 or 5 dolphins.
So it was all friends on the boat, and we're having a good time. There's a lot of high spirits. We saw 3 dolphins and a little baby dolphin out there, so we started messing around. So I jumped in to go swimming, with the dolphins.
After swimming with the dolphins for several minutes, the others returned to the boat. Martin lingered, not realizing there was a shark in the water.
I kept looking backwards to see where the boat was, and then all of a sudden, I just felt the bite, in my side here, and then there's a lot of blood in the sea.
Martin had been attacked by a shark.
It took 2 bites out of my side, then it went away, and then it came back, and that's when it bit me just on the top here and a little bit down my arm. I started screaming to my friend to get on over and get me out of the water.
As Martin struggled, bleeding in the water, and Harry went to save him, the forces of nature were also coming to his rescue.
I was going to Martin, and I remember seeing that dolphin come past him like that, and another dolphin swim round him just as I was arriving.
The dolphins Martin had been swimming with were keeping the shark at bay.
I pulled him up into the boat, and there was blood pumping from his back.
Harry believes the dolphins definitely saved Martin's life.
He was in the water plenty enough time with enough blood around him for that shark to kill him. It was scared off by something. I think it was the dolphins.
Dolphin expert and University of Haifa professor Oz Goldman agrees.
The dolphins simply got the shark away from the swimmer in the way they know best. They surrounded the swimmer with their bodies and whipped their fins. They jumped in and out of the water and just made the shark leave.
Captain Itzhak Herman, who witnessed the rescue, also believes the dolphins saved Martin's life.
Not only were they friendly, they were really human in a sense. We could see them actually making waves in the water around him, with a lot of foam, as if a big school of fish was there.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't know how he's still here. He shouldn't be here. He is incredibly lucky.
I did say, when I was laying there, I just said, please God, don't let me die here. So I think it's a little bit of God, a little bit of the dolphins.
Professionals who work with wild animals understand it's a risky business. Ramon Bravo, the Jacques Cousteau of Mexico, found out just how risky in the waters of the Yucatan Peninsula. He and his team had captured 4 sharks and drugged them so they could photograph and study them for 2 days. What Ramon didn't know was that one of the sharks was especially hostile.
When the drugs wore off and the sharks were released, one of the predators immediately swam after Ramon. He's trying to get away when suddenly the shark attacks. In seconds, the shark's razor teeth inflicted a wound that would require hours of surgery and more than 80 stitches. Watch again as the shark aggressively pursues the swimmer and then attacks.
Some people face the dangers of the deep virtually every day. They're the lifeguards on our beaches, and we owe them a debt of gratitude for the life-saving work they do. Now, just imagine you're a lifeguard swimming in the ocean. You're attacked by a shark, and you're a woman in a very delicate condition.
Vero Beach, Florida, October 26, 1993.
See you later.
Lifeguard Dawn Shaman was 6.5 months pregnant at the time. Wanting to stay in shape during a pregnancy, Dawn started the day with an ocean swim. Ironically, that morning, her husband had specifically asked her not to go in the water unless it was an emergency. She swam out beyond the breakers and began swimming parallel to the shore. What Dawn didn't know was that there was a shark in the water with her that morning. Dawn was in the middle of her workout when the shark attacked. The force of the attack spun her around 180 degrees in the water.
I was just swimming nice, easy cross stroke, and I felt something slam into me and spin me around. It was the oddest feeling, and all of a sudden I felt like I hit a wall in the water. And when I sat up, I knew instantly I was attacked by a shark.
Frightened and bleeding, Dawn feared for her baby's life as well as her own.
My hand was over my stomach, and I was pregnant, and I thought for sure I got the baby. So I felt something burning. I lifted my hand out of the water, and it was just covered with blood. It was just dripping. Right around me, in the vicinity of me, I saw the water was red. And I got nervous, and I rolled over up onto my hip, and my whole leg was wide open of a gash, and blood everywhere, clumps of it coming out.
Because she was out past the breakers, Dawn's cries for help went unanswered. Fearing the shark would attack again, Dawn had no choice but to try to swim to shore in the bloody water.
Sharks are not intentionally attacking human beings. They're trying to consume a fish. In most of the cases on the east coast of Florida where this attack has occurred, the shark is trying to capture a small mullet or sardine that is adjacent to the shore, rushing in to grab it. As it turns out, it's a splashing hand or splashing foot.
I didn't know what to do. I started to panic. I started to hyperventilate. I was very nervous. And, being pregnant, I couldn't see my stomach. I couldn't see if it got the baby, if it cut my leg, or my stomach, too. So I started to swim in with one arm, one leg, because the other two were, it hurt too bad to do anything with them.
Dawn struggled through the surf to escape the deadly predator.
I was very concerned for the baby. I was 6.5 months pregnant. I had quite a sized belly on me. It was my first child. And to feel something of that force slam into my stomach, I was thinking miscarriage or, the baby maybe, dying or what. I wasn't sure.
Finally, Dawn reached the shore where the other lifeguard on duty, Chris Henderson, began to administer aid.
It's okay. Oh, my baby.
After I called EMS to activate them, I called Dawn's husband, Bill, and I told him that she had been bitten by a shark. And he, on the phone, he totally did not believe me, and he stated that he just told her that morning that don't go swimming, you're pregnant, you don't need to get hit, you might get bit by a shark.
But when Dawn's husband, a public safety officer who was working nearby, heard the call go out for a shark attack victim, he rushed to the scene.
Just hold tight. I had two major concerns. One was for Dawn, and one was for the baby. And I was sort of torn because, Dawn was injured, seriously injured, and I also was concerned that we had a baby.
Dawn was taken to a nearby hospital where it took 80 stitches to close the 7-inch gash in her leg and the lacerations on her wrists. But the baby still wasn't out of danger.
The next day, I started having severe back pains, and I've never had a baby, so I didn't know my husband. I told him I had severe back pain, rubbed my back, and then I said, okay, it's fine. It went away. He goes, that's contractions. You're in labor.
Doctors succeeded in stopping the premature labor with medication, and Dawn spent the remaining 3 months of her pregnancy in bed.
After her bed rest was over and they felt that it was safe for the baby to be delivered, Dawn stopped her medication, and we had a healthy baby boy, 7 pounds. And his name is McIntyre Shark Shaman. We had to put the shark in there. We figured it would be appropriate.
I think Dawn was very lucky in that the attack occurred on her leg and her hand.
I feel very lucky. I feel lucky for myself and for my child. He almost died. I've been through 2 surgeries, 2 years of hand therapy. But the most important thing is that my son is very healthy. There's nothing wrong with him.
When we continue, a deer attack turns deadly. The real story of the man who barged in on the bears at the San Diego Zoo, and the glory and gore of bullfighting. All on When Animals Attack.
Foot action. Foot action's working to get a few more inches out of my vertical.
Foot action is also where to get to Chris Webber from Fela. For every action, there's foot action.
His face, a mask of courage. Who are you? His armor,
Awesome hardware.
a living weapon. His mission, a fight for justice.
Back off, hero.
His name, Spawn.
Let's get it over with.
You've been violated, girly bat.
Spawn, rated PG-13, starts Friday, August 1st.
1892, toothpaste is invented. 1955, fluoride. 1985, tartar control. Now, tartar control toothpaste from Listerine that keeps fighting germs for a long-lasting clean. Introducing Cool Mint Listerine Tartar Control toothpaste. Its germ-killing formula keeps fighting germs even after you stop brushing, so that clean feeling lasts. Finally, new Cool Mint Listerine Tartar Control toothpaste. Strong on germs, long on clean.
Tonight again, police rescue 57 deaf Mexican immigrants who were forced into slavery. Then, a man steals a squad car with police in hot pursuit. Now he could be up for murder charges. And bulls on a deadly rampage. The story on Fox 11 News at 10. Superman, The Escape. The tallest, fastest thrill ride on the planet. Only at Six Flags Magic Mountain.
With a McDonald's Big Mac Extra Value Meal, you're getting a great deal of fat, 53 grams to be exact. At Subway, you can get an entire meal, including one of 7 6-inch subs, baked lays, and a drink under 8 grams of fat. Take the Subway Challenge at a Subway near you.
Now at Pep Boys, get any 4 of our 35,000-mile all-season steel-belted tires at an incredible low $99. At Pep Boys, now.
I know a place.
This is not a country for wimps. We invented the cowboy, the jawbreaker, and the quarterback blitz.
I'll take you there.
And we are rough on our cars. So get a new Chevy Malibu. Your first scheduled tune-up's at 100,000 miles. Engine coolant, 5 years or 150,000 miles. Transmission fluid, forget about it. We're talking the automotive equivalent of Rocky Balboa. The car you knew America could build. The brand new Chevy Malibu.
Oh!
2 million gallons, plus 22 drops. Twice the slides. Twice the excitement. By the gallon or by the drop. The new Six Flags Hurricane Harbor is now bigger, better, wetter.
It's wild, fierce, raw. Southland teens battling with boxing gloves. Go inside. Underground boxing tonight on Fox 11 News at 10.
Sometimes when animals attack, it's part of an ancient spectacle. Bullfighting pits man against animal in a violent contest. To kill or be killed. To prove his skill, the matador must kill the bull as it attacks. To survive, if only to attack again, the bull must kill the matador. Notice how this fighter is in the extremely dangerous kneeling position as the bull enters the ring. He doesn't have a chance. Rescued by his colleagues, the stricken matador is rushed to the hospital. This fighter's luck takes a nasty turn for the worse when the raging bull hurls him into the air like a rag doll, then butts him with its head for good measure. Remarkably, the fighter is back on his feet, undoubtedly feeling the adrenaline rush of the attack. He's lucky to be alive. This bull wastes no time dispatching the fighter. Despite the fighter's seeming superiority, when caught off guard, he's defenseless against the superpower of the bull. Since ancient times, man has tempted his fate with animals. In the wild, in the circus, in zoos, even in his own backyard. In this footage from Australia, ambulance driver John Cullen is showing off a python at a charity event when the snake proves he has a mind of his own.
Get around me and apply pressure.
Watch what happens when the python unexpectedly wraps itself around Cullen's neck. With only a few more coils, it could easily choke him to death. Now watch what happens when the python wraps itself around his legs. To unwrap the coils of an aggressive python, one must break the hold at its tail, then peel the snake off until it can no longer use its deadly constricting muscles.
How would you feel if you were attacked in your own backyard? Horrified? Threatened? Violated? The Pacific Northwest is the setting for our next story about an unsuspecting family that was terrorized in their backyard by a vicious predator.
On December 12, 1995, Darlene Molina of Chiloquin, Oregon, had just returned home from a trip to Merrill, Oregon. Darlene's husband, Larry, had just landed a new job there and would be returning immediately to start work. With them was Darlene's 3-year-old grandson, Brian Boggs. They had no idea tragedy was about to strike. While Brian played outside, Darlene helped Larry get ready for his trip.
Where's my sleeping bag?
In the bedroom. Oh, is Brian inside?
I don't know.
So I didn't think anything about it. Just opened the front door and was going to open the door for him to come in. There was no Brian. He was just totally missing.
That's when Darlene heard Brian scream.
It was a funny grandma scream. It was like not pain at that time, but there was just something I detected in his voice. Something wasn't right.
As Darlene followed her grandson's cries for help, she knew something terrible had happened.
So I started running up towards the hill, and I ran across one of his boots. Brian! And I ran farther towards the screaming. There was another boot. It just wasn't making any sense to me.
Darlene found her grandson in the woods, in the mouth of a 100-pound wolf.
I ran towards him, and as the wolf seen me running towards them, he grabbed my grandson in the torso and was shaking him. Started to run farther up the hill, away from me.
But every time Darlene tried to reach for Brian, the wolf snatched him away and ran deeper into the woods.
Brian! I knew there was imminent danger. My grandson was going to be killed in front of my eyes. It was like watching a movie, and for a split second I thought, you read about this, you hear about it, but you never in your life experience something like this.
Finally, Darlene caught up with the wolf.
I leaped on top of the wolf like a football player. I tackled him, spun around, hovered over my grandson, picked him up. He was just blankly staring up at the sky. There was no more movement, no more screaming. And I actually believed I was taking a dead baby off of the hill.
Even as Darlene fled with Brian, the wolf continued to attack until she reached the house. No one in the house even realized the attack had occurred. The Molina's house guest, Brandon Cunningham, helped Darlene try to stop the bleeding.
He had a chest wound right about here, I guess, and you could hear air coming out. And so I went back into the kitchen and started getting towels and stuff and replacing them over him.
When I applied the pressure to him is when I realized he was still alive. He started crying and screaming, and I broke down at that point. I just went totally hysterical. And I remember continually telling him, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry.
Experts believe that wolf-dog hybrids like the one that attacked Brian are even more dangerous than pure wolves.
Wolf-dog is much more dangerous potentially than a pure wolf, simply because of the unpredictable nature. You're not sure whether the animal is going to respond like a dog or like a wolf or like a blending of the two. What you've got in this case is a hybrid with the wolf side of his character attacking out of prey drive, which is a predator's natural urge to hunt and kill small animals. coupled with the dog side of his character, having been raised in captivity, socialized with people, and lacking a wild, full wolf's natural fear of man.
Brian was treated for loss of blood, a punctured lung, and 39 puncture wounds on his back, chest, and abdomen. He was in surgery for more than 3 hours. Fortunately, the wolf did not have rabies, and miraculously, Brian suffered no serious wounds to his face or neck.
I feel Brian was extremely lucky, because if it had been a moments later I had come upon the scene, Brian would have been killed. I feel lucky, and I feel like someone was looking over us that day, that I was able to rescue him before he did kill Brian.
Coming up, what really happened at the San Diego Zoo when a man entered a cage full of bears. Plus, a deer savagely attacks an unsuspecting hunter. On When Animals Attack.
This burning yeast infection itch, internal medicines take days. I want to stop it now.
Then you need maximum strength Vagisil, too. It stops yeast infection itching in minutes. These don't.
It is the really fast way to stop yeast infection itching.
You know, baseball it's just dead.
Hey, if baseball can survive those old Astro uniforms, it can survive anything. Out here, it's Monday. In here, it's Friday. Tuesday. Friday. Wednesday. Friday.
Now introducing Friday's Jack Daniel's Grill. Delicious entrees basted in a sweet Smoky Mountain Jack Daniel's sauce. The new Jack Daniel's Grill at Fridays.
Good name.
She survived a nightmare.
Want to find you, Jenna?
Now, darkness has found her again.
He killed them all.
And the secret she uncovers
He has a girl in his house, a prisoner.
will test her strength and try her soul.
Quite a spunky little lady, aren't you?
From best-selling author Dean Koontz. Intensity, August 5th on Fox. Parental discretion advised.
Dodge Caravan is the most award-winning minivan in history. It's a Consumer's Digest Best Buy, one of Automobile Magazine's All-Stars, and one of Car and Driver's 10 Best. So how do you make the best-selling minivan in history even more appealing? You put it on sale, now with up to $1,000 cash back. And at $17,235, Dodge Caravan becomes the lowest-priced minivan in the industry. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
Wasn't my fault. There was this deer.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
No problem.
You get hungry putting out fires?
Yeah.
I got a great burger for you. The sourdough jack. 2 crunchy slices of grilled sourdough with a big juicy cheeseburger and bacon. Very unique. I work for the guy who makes it.
Sourdough Jack, huh? Thanks for the tip.
Hey, wait. Seeing as the car's totaled, could I ask you a favor?
Sure.
Right now, Nissan trucks and Altimas come standard with bragging rights.
My Nissan truck costs $2,000 less than a Toyota Tacoma.
Altima ranked best in his class in initial quality by J.D. Power and Associates.
And you can gloat about all the money you saved with these great deals. At the Nissan Summer Sales Celebration.
A heroic warrior, armed only with his sword and courage.
The Romans stole our future. We're gonna steal it back.
Fighting his darkest enemy, who sees the future.
They're killing it.
And possesses weapons from a time yet to be.
Nothing can compete with a god like this.
Roar, an all-new series, next on Fox.
You probably heard this next story on the news. It involves a young man who was attacked by a bear at the San Diego Zoo. All we were told at the time was that he went into the bear's enclosure because he thought the bears had motion for him to come in. Well, there's more to the story, much more. Here's what really happened in San Diego on that fateful day. The world-famous San Diego Zoo attracts thousands of people every day. Among the many visitors on June 28, 1996, was a young man with an illness known as paranoid schizophrenia,
an illness that severely distorts reality. The young man's name was Matthew.
Matthew was a model college student up until about the age of 21. He has a computer science engineering degree, and he was a very well-liked individual up until that point. At about the time he turned 21, I guess, he started having some chemical imbalances in his body, and that led him to the point where he couldn't really focus on reality so much. He had real difficulty perceiving what was real and making decisions and judgments based on fact.
Wandering alone through the zoo, Matthew ended up in Bear and Cat Canyon, in front of an enclosure that contained 2 Manchurian brown bears.
Matthew felt that the bears had been waving to him, basically. He felt they'd been friendly towards him and had been motioning for him to enter their enclosure. So he felt he should be friendly and go see what they'd been motioning to him about.
Matthew climbed into the enclosure and slid down a back wall into the bear's pool. Within moments, he found himself face to face with one of the bears.
Well, Matthew climbed at least 2 fences and then dropped down into the moated area. The bears were curious, and bears are curious by nature. As a result, they came over and sniffed him, and then something caused them to attack him.
Basically, the bear grabbed Matthew around the upper thigh, sunk his teeth in, and the teeth met, and it shook him.
Whether the bear was trying to kill him or not, that's hard to say, because this is a bear, again, it was raised around people, but it doesn't know people are edible.
He felt kind of betrayed. He felt that the bear had been friendly, and they had turned on her. Basically, he felt it was time to leave.
Leaving wasn't so easy. Matthew had been seriously wounded, and even though he had managed to retreat back into the bear's pool, he still wasn't out of harm's way.
I was amazed that he was able to get out of there alive. Most people that have ended up in bear enclosures with captive bears have died as a result.
But San Diego zookeepers and security personnel acted quickly. Using high-pressure water hoses and blasts from fire extinguishers, they herded the bears back into their dens so Matthew could be rescued.
Matthew was extremely lucky. You have to remember that these bears are strong and powerful, and they could have easily dismembered him in a matter of seconds.
Matthew is still recovering from severe lacerations to his groin and nerve damage to one leg that will require neurosurgery. Although Matthew still may not realize what he did, we can learn an important lesson. Even in captivity, wild animals are always unpredictable.
It's not the bear's fault. They were doing what comes naturally. It's not San Diego Zoo's fault because they had the proper safeguards to keep people out of the enclosure. And it's not really Matthew's fault.
Well, I hope this incident can bring attention to schizophrenia, which is a terrible disease which can bring down a family member in the prime of their life.
Still to come, a dangerous deer. Next on, When Animals Attack.
Whoa. Now you're talking the Nike Air Super CB. CB isn't CB? Bingo.
Did you tell them how stable they are?
I'm getting there.
Did you tell them how great they are for rebounds?
Getting there.
So, they working for you, Charles? What do you think?
You better get back.
Check them out.
There you go. What channel is that?
Nike basketball shoes available at Foot Locker, where it all begins.
I'm swimsuit model Rebecca Romaine, and this is where I live.
Please don't litter where I live. I want to come home and get positive. Swimsuit models have feelings too, but when you litter, we get mad at you. Please don't litter, don't you care?
I'm so mad I could pull your hair.
Think how pretty the world would be if everyone picked up their mess like you and me.
1-800-COLLECT presents Max Jerome, Private Eye.
Better call and tell them we're going to be late.
You could save up to 44% if you dialed 1-800-COLLECT.
You're going to need that 44% when you get my bill.
1-800-COLLECT is the easy way to save up to 44%.
Itchy allergic rash? The dermatologist I work for recommends Cordate for maximum relief. Cordate not only stops the itch, it also helps heal the rash with a unique formula Benadryl doesn't have. There's no brand doctors recommend more. Cordate for maximum relief.
Out here, it's Monday. In here, it's Friday.
Tuesday.
Friday. Wednesday. Friday.
Now introducing Friday's Jack Daniel's Grill. Delicious entrees basted in a sweet Smoky Mountain Jack Daniel's sauce. The new Jack Daniel's Grill at Fridays.
Good name.
You know, I could be a pretty likable guy when I'm not pointing a gun at somebody.
Charlie Sheen, Christy Swanson, the broadcast premiere of The Chase, Tuesday at 8/7 Central on Fox. On an all-new special, are these pictures finally proof that aliens have visited the Earth? Next Monday, decide for yourself when Fox presents the most compelling evidence of UFOs ever shown on television.
Oh, my God.
From the producers of Alien Autopsy comes UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape. Next Monday at 8/7 Central on Fox.
Repair Shop Con Artists, out to rip you off. Find out how you can protect yourself. Car Repair Ripoff. Tonight on Fox 11 News at 10.
We conclude with a very unusual attack. Alarming not only because of why it occurred, but also because it nearly resulted in death. It all began when Lynn Chestnut of Toledo, Washington, decided it would be amusing to make a video for his hunting buddies, showing him being pursued by an elk. Lynn applied elk scent to his body, then asked his wife Rosemary to videotape the event.
I didn't think it was a good idea at all. That's why it took him 3 weeks to talk me into actually going with him. But he persuaded me that he wasn't going to get hurt, nothing was going to, really happen, it would be bad, and so I consented to go.
So I went to the school and I borrowed some football pads. I knew it wouldn't really save my life, but I figured, well, it'd help, maybe keep him from poking me in the kidneys or something.
The Chestnuts had no idea what Lynn was in for when suddenly the deer attacked.
I realized I wasn't ready for a real outright attack when the deer attacked me, got me down on the ground with feet in my face and stuff.
What was so terrifying about this experience was that as I was looking through the camera, I just knew in my mind that I was videoing my husband being killed.
Well, the scariest part was when I rolled into him, and then he really started smacking into my face, and I was getting weak enough that I couldn't, fend him off very good.
I realized my husband was in trouble when the deer came up on its hind legs like a bear and started coming down on him and pounding him to the ground in such force and hitting him on the head and everything. I knew it. I just knew it.
At one point I thought he might kill me, because I was so weak and he was really coming at me strong, and I realized that the harder I fought him, to defend myself, the harder he tore into me.
No, I'll never let him do it again, and it was not a good idea. I wished I'd never done it.
I thought I was pretty well ready, but I knew that, I was taking a pretty good chance.
My husband's very lucky that he's here today. I really believe that. I believe it with my whole heart. I think he's one of the luckiest persons in the world. I really do, because if that deer would have used his horns instead of his feet, he wouldn't be here today.
A hunter trying to impress his friends with an ill-conceived prank. A deer minding its own business. The combination could have been lethal. Such episodes should serve as a reminder that the earth does not belong to man alone. As we've seen tonight, when animals attack, there's usually a lesson to be learned. That lesson is to respect animals and their natural habitat so we may all live in peace together on this planet. I'm Robert Urich. Good night.
Only at 7-Eleven.
Oh, thank heaven.
On an all-new special, are these pictures finally proof that aliens have visited the Earth? Decide for yourself. UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape. Then on Raw, a boy of mystical power is marked for death.
I have to find it.
Destiny demands his protection.
You were chosen.
Roar, right after UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape.
The following program is based on speculation and conjecture. Viewers should explore all sources of information before reaching their own conclusions.
was clearly a disc-shaped object.
Take a look at this.
Oh my God!
This is a video taken over Area 51.
Gulf Breeze has suddenly become a hotspot for these unidentified flying objects.
That sat there for hours, witnessed by hundreds of people.
The planes passed, and I saw this strange craft in the sky.
There were craft watching us land on the moon.
In approximately 4 seconds, down goes an intricate snowflake design.
All of a sudden, the UFO craft comes into view.
There she is.
The craft is becoming invisible here on the tape.
They have flight capabilities we have not yet achieved.
It appears to be metallic. It appears to be a craft.
We seem to have some sort of trail that follows the object.
Thousands of people with our cameras in our hands are going to produce the evidence that this is real.
In the 50 years since the alleged crash of a flying saucer in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947, there have been reports of thousands of UFO sightings. While most of these can easily be explained away, the most intriguing cases continue to baffle both skeptics and believers alike. Tonight you will see the most compelling videotaped and filmed evidence of strange, unidentified craft ever presented on television, and hear from NASA experts, a former CIA official, and the eyewitnesses themselves. Are we seeing alien craft, secret military vehicles, or clever hoaxes? You decide for yourself as we examine UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape. What you are seeing may be the most credible UFO footage ever shot over America. It is unlikely that they are hoaxes. Investigators who have analyzed the footage believe that we are seeing either super secret technology being tested, or perhaps actual alien spacecraft. Phoenix, Arizona, 1997. It began March 13th. Residents had observed strange lights in the sky for the preceding 3 nights, which were captured on this short tape. Then at 9:45 p.m. on the 13th, thousands of people witnessed this amazing display. Tom King, a local resident, captured it on tape.
Woo! Look at that!
Major sighting here.
I've never seen it. Look at that.
This isn't like the stuff I'm normally seeing. This is extraordinary. You look at it and go, that's not an aircraft. We were perplexed the whole time trying to figure out, what is this thing?
As the tape rolled, 5 lights blinked on in sequence, offering an outline of a flying object as it hovered near the mountains. Bill Hamilton, a resident, was with King as he taped the lights.
This was a very significant mass sighting because at least one of these objects was seen traveling down diagonally the entire state of Arizona. Thousands of witnesses, several videotapes, hundreds of phone calls were made to local television stations, to local police stations.
That same evening, insurance salesman Mike Kristen was at home with his wife when he recorded this astonishing video of the same event from 40 miles away.
I saw a single point of light farther to the east on the mountains than I've ever seen before. All of a sudden, another sequence of light started to form to the right of it. And I happened to be catching everything. This whole entire sequence came on.
They're very large, larger than any light in the city.
Take a look at the footage. I'm not telling you what they are. If it was an alien spacecraft, there's something out there that they can't defend us against.
Amazingly, a third video was shot simultaneously, showing the same lights going out in order.
It's an amazing thing. This is a huge sighting that happened.
By inputting the video into a computer, image processor Jim Dilatoso was able to determine what the Phoenix UFOs looked like.
Now we have 3D mountains and topology that we can swing around and look at it from different angles
We feel very certain that the object, tip to tip, is more than a mile long.
National newspapers soon carried front-page stories of the enormous V-shaped object seen over Phoenix. But the local military base did nothing to calm the fears of the 10,000 residents who were startled by what they saw. A Phoenix councilwoman, Frances Barwood, has called for an investigation into the strange lights.
There's people that were active military that were afraid to say publicly what they saw because they had been told that it would be the end of their career.
Area 51, Nevada, 1992. This extraordinary night vision video was recorded over our nation's most secret base. An intrepid news crew was investigating the strange craft people were seeing there, when the cameraman managed to capture this large, glowing orb that seemed to hover like a flying saucer. But despite evidence like this being shot over the base for years, the government refused to comment.
The military is lying about this. They've had interest at high levels since the very beginning of the modern UFO era.
George Knapp, a Las Vegas-based TV reporter, believes UFOs exist.
We know that secret things have gone on there. There had been various reports in the local press over the years that strange things had been seen. I think there are people who operate for our government or its emissaries who try to scare people out of getting too close.
Area 51, Nevada, 1993. This astonishing footage was leaked from the secret base by a high-ranking military source working there. He is speaking with us anonymously to avoid government reprisals. Never before seen on primetime television, it reportedly documents a UFO encounter captured by military cameras.
This is an actual radar transmitting against a target, a metallic target, bouncing back and reflecting information. Nothing was supposed to be there at that time. These were not any military type of test.
The object appears to transform into unusual shapes while it continues to fly about erratically, as if to avoid pursuit. The numbers in the upper corner document the distance covered by the unknown object. At one point, the UFO travels nearly 13 miles in 6 seconds.
The object on this tape makes extremely rapid velocity changes and cornering maneuvers that are not possible with any aircraft we have on the planet today.
Gulf Breeze, Florida, 1987. A man living in this seaside town located near other sensitive military installations delivered these startling photos to the town newspaper. Soon after, this extraordinary nighttime footage of the same structured craft was made public. Navy optical physicist Bruce Maccabee was initially baffled.
But it wasn't until I spent a considerable amount of time analyzing it that I realized just how impressive it was. The shape, the structure, and the way it moved is not a characteristic of any craft that human beings make.
Gulf Breeze, Florida, 1993. These UFOs were also caught on tape by another resident. Look at this footage of an accelerating UFO. In slow motion, the object does not appear to be a missile or any known projectile, nor does this strange object. Here it is again in a third clip. In slow motion, the camera records a small silver streak of instant acceleration.
We don't have this type of capability for propulsion technology in existence in human science.
We showed some of the Area 51 and Gulf Breeze footage to the former Deputy Director of the CIA, Admiral Bobby Ray Inman. He believes what we're seeing is of earthly origin.
When we see these observations over military installations, then instantly my perception is that we're probably observing some test of some new technology.
Redfish Point, Florida, 1993. This extraordinary cylinder-shaped UFO was recorded just outside Gulf Breeze by UFO investigator Michael Hawkins. It hovers over the beach not too far from Eglin Air Force Base.
It was scaring me, actually. You know, I'd never seen nothing like that before with any kind of structure on it. I thought maybe it might be a military craft, but after a while, I started to think that, you know, possibly it was some kind of alien probe.
Midway City, Florida, 1993. Amazingly, Hawkins managed to shoot footage of another strange object near Gulf Breeze that was also videotaped by 2 other photographers. These astonishing videos from different angles reveal an extraordinary Christmas tree-shaped craft hovering over a dense forest. At times, the object appears to give off dense smoke Then suddenly, it shines an intense beam directly at the camera.
From all the tapes I've collected, I do believe that there is alien activity over Gulf Breeze.
And over other military bases? And major cities like Phoenix? Yet the government continues to deny the very existence of UFOs, despite startling evidence caught on tape. Perhaps all these videos now being shot will prompt officials to admit that unexplained objects are indeed flying in our skies.
Coming up next, your first look at this UFO caught on tape in Ecuador.
This object was like a 6-point star. I began filming it.
Later, we'll reveal the answer to a UFO mystery.
We're able to positively identify a UFO.
When UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape, returns.
UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape, is brought to you by new Dentine Ice. Nothing's colder than ice.
Introducing Dentine Ice.
Dentine Ice.
Frosty outside, inside chewing gum made to hold on to the cold.
Nothing's colder
New
than
Dentine Ice. Nothing's colder than ice.
I thought my daughter's cut was too small to get infected. Now I know better.
To help prevent infection, even small cuts need Neosporin. It kills infectious bacteria, and new Neosporin helps cuts heal faster than before. Use faster healing Neosporin. Every cut, every time.
In New York City, a cop has been murdered.
Today, he is laid to rest here in the cemetery at Garrison, New Jersey.
And a small-town sheriff is about to uncover...
Checking up on us?
Babbage isn't dead. You know it and I know it. A big-time conspiracy.
You know what you're doing, do you? Shut up. It's over. The case is closed.
You're gonna come at them head on? What are you gonna do, Sheriff? You're gonna arrest the whole town?
Sylvester Stallone, Harvey Keitel, Ray Liotta, and Robert De Niro. Copland. Rated R. Starts August 15th.
The all-new Intrigue, a sophisticated twist on a sports sedan.
Sign up for Sprint Cents dime a minute rate now, and your evenings and weekends will never be the same again.
So I'm heading home from work, and suddenly, I'm in the dime zone. All at once, everyone's dog is getting off my lawn. And best of all my long-distance calls are just 10 cents a minute.
With Sprint Cents, you're in the dime zone, every weeknight and all weekend long. And when you sign up now, you'll also get up to 100 minutes free.
You'll probably need one of these.
Call now, 1-800-PIN-DROP.
Does that camera of yours give you 3 different picture options for better pictures more often? Oh, too bad. What you need is an advanced photo system like Kodak Advantix. It's a special kind of film. It's a different kind of camera. It's a better way to take pictures. Further.
Gee, I dropped my fry.
Hey, you're messing up my car.
Oops, drop the ketchup.
Now you can try the new Bacon Ranch Twister, plus a Pepsi, just $2.99.
A boy of mystical powers is marked for death by his enemies.
I have to find him.
Can anyone stop his assassination?
You were chosen.
Roar, tonight on Fox.
Nostradamus, his predictions have hypnotized the world. The Gulf War, the Moonwalk, assassinations. Now the special that takes a terrifying journey into the unthinkable.
History is going to come to an end.
And his most fearful prediction is just ahead.
Watch for something falling from the skies.
Prophecies of the Millennium, Wednesday at 8, 7 Central on Fox.
While the growing use of video cameras may be showing that the skies over the United States are becoming filled with UFOs, equally compelling UFO footage shot over other countries may be proving that phenomenon is worldwide. Ecuador, South America, 1995. High school student Victor Chiloisa managed to capture what many experts are calling one of the most extraordinary UFOs ever caught on tape. In this never-before-seen footage, a structured, rotating craft can clearly be seen in the nighttime sky. According to Chiloisa, the craft hovered very briefly.
I was with 2 cousins, 1 friend. Suddenly, we saw some red lights in the sky. 5 minutes later, maybe, I went out with the camera again. This object was like a star. like a 6-point star, and I began filming it.
500 people in the city of Guayaquil reportedly witnessed the unprecedented close encounter. The craft, which resembles a glowing chandelier, did not appear to be any craft that Chiloisa and his friends were familiar with.
Couldn't be a helicopter, it couldn't be an airplane, it couldn't be, well, whatever. It just could be an UFO. It was, for me, unbelievable. I was so astonished that I couldn't say anything.
Though one of America's top imaging experts was intrigued by the UFO, he cautions it could be a miniature.
I'm afraid that could be just some kind of toy with a lot of reflective surfaces on it. But there's just not enough to go on.
Brazil, 1990. These provocative images have been debated ever since motorists traveling on a busy highway were stunned to see this disc-shaped craft flashing strange patterns in the sky. Researchers have uncovered no reports of any known aircraft in the area that night, which could have accounted for what was videotaped. As with so many UFOs, this flying craft is a mystery. Like in the United States, video cameras are capturing UFOs near sensitive military installations around the world. While these unknown craft could be secret military vehicles, they could be something else. Greifswald, East Germany, 1990. East German and Russian personnel working at a nuclear plant recorded these UFO clusters forming over the site. Investigators would determine that they are independent craft which appear to circle each other and blink out one at a time.
I eagerly await the skeptic who can explain to me what the Griswold footage represents. You've got different people from different angles videotaping this thing, hundreds of witnesses. It sat there for hours over a sensitive location. You've got one point there where one object comes in and joins these other things. What operates like that? I don't know.
Mexico, 1991. Vicente Sanchez took a video camera to Mexico City's Independence Day air show and caught something totally unexpected on tape. In a rare video sequence, a UFO seems to hover in front of a squadron of military jets on maneuvers.
I'm following the path of the planes, and I suddenly found a strange object in the sky. I didn't know what it was, so I let the planes pass.
As Sanchez remains focused on the UFO, the object appears to come closer to the camera. Then something inexplicable occurs.
When the object was right near me, the camera suddenly turned off. It's very strange that the battery would drain so quickly, because the camera was showing in the viewfinder that the battery was full.
What happened to the electrical system of Sanchez's camera eerily matches the reports of pilots who have encountered UFOs while in flight. Many say their planes' electrical systems have mysteriously turned off. The Mexican military has not disclosed how their planes reacted to the close encounter Sanchez taped. But witnesses say 5 of their jets broke formation to chase the UFO. Mexico City, 1993. At the same annual military air show, a second amateur photographer recorded another mysterious flying craft. In this startling footage, we can see the apparent UFO flying right through a squadron of helicopters. Top experts who have studied the footage have concluded the object is not a bird and is 2 or 3 meters in diameter. Whatever it is, it seems to fly dangerously close to the chopper, sometimes in front and sometimes behind the whirling blades. Again, the Mexican authorities have refused to comment about the incident. And UFOs are not only being videotaped near the world's most sophisticated military craft. NASA's own cameras have captured UFOs near our spacecraft launches, and even in outer space. Cape Kennedy, Florida, 1993. During the liftoff of the Space Shuttle Columbia, footage was shot of an unusual object which appeared to streak by the spacecraft as it made its way into orbit. Though the UFO seen here has never been explained, its very close proximity to the shuttle clearly could have posed a danger to our astronauts inside. While there have been many mysterious objects seen and filmed during our manned missions, perhaps the most startling footage showing UFOs near our astronauts was shot by Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin just prior to the historic moon landing in the summer of 1969. Here you see two glowing orbs hovering over the lunar surface, which appear brighter than anything else in the frame. Are these merely reflections of light bulbs inside the lunar module, as NASA contends, or something much more phenomenal? Either way, this rarely seen footage helped fuel rumors that the Apollo 11 astronauts saw alien spacecraft watching them from a nearby crater rim as they walked on the moon. And some UFO researchers are convinced our government's Star Wars defense systems were really designed to protect us from a possible alien confrontation. And such weapons have even been used just above the Earth. September 1991. In this dramatic footage shot by NASA's own cameras aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery, an unidentified object appears to emerge from the Earth's atmosphere and move steadily toward the upper left. Then, as a peculiar flash is detected in the lower left of the frame, the strange object seems to dart off into space.
There's the main object. It's going to come over here. There will be a flash. It'll dart back here. Then you'll see a streak go through here.
As radical as it sounds, Dr. Jack Kasher, who has worked on Star Wars defense development, believes we may be witnessing a Star Wars weapon being fired just before a UFO performs an evasive maneuver.
Watch for a double flash down here, and then it'll zip off. There's the flash. There it goes. Here comes the streak right through where it had been.
While NASA has maintained that this footage probably shows ice particles being affected by the shuttle's rockets, Kasher is certain this is not the case. He believes NASA's cameras caught extraterrestrial vehicles navigating over our planet.
An ice particle simply cannot stop and wait for half a second and then react to being pushed by the exhaust from the shuttle. I think the video itself is a landmark because of the significance of what appears to be going on there, and the fact that it appears that we really are looking at spacecraft out in space away from the shuttle.
Next, is this a real UFO landing?
This was one of the most well-documented UFO cases in history.
Also, are UFOs making crop circles? Later, the most amazing UFOs ever taped.
It's silver, it's disc, it's metallic.
UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape, returns.
Fox, Safe at Home, brought to you in part by Kellogg's.
Your mom says Crispix won't get soggy in milk. Highly unlikely, Susan.
Yeah, highly unlikely.
See, it starts out crispy, Becky. I'm still skeptical.
Me too, I'm so skeptical.
Kellogg's Crispix cereal. Delicious corn and rice that stays crispy to the end. Okay, last bite, Soggy City. Hey, it's still crispy. Told ya.
Told ya.
Crispix. Crispy to the end. You're turning on me.
On the field, I'm an MVP who makes headlines. But there are kids out there who can't read the newspaper. If you're illiterate, volunteer to tutor youngsters in your area. And if you can't read yet, don't be ashamed. Ask for help at school. Learn to read and become an MVP. The most valuable person you can be.
Violence. Don't play that game.
From the director and producer of Independence Day comes The Visitor. Fridays this fall on Fox.
You look awful.
I am a miserable, irritated shell of my natural self.
Try Visine.
It won't help.
It will. No other eye drop relieves red, irritated eyes faster. Visine starts to work immediately. It gives eyes like yours 100% of what they need for fast relief.
Restored to all my natural glory.
Oh, you were less irritating when you were irritated.
You'll never know how good your eyes can feel until you try Visine. It gets the red out fast.
And the irritation, too.
Critics are calling Contact brilliant, thrilling, a guaranteed nominee for Best Picture, another Oscar for Jodie Foster.
We are not alone.
Contact will make you believe. Contact, rated PG, now playing.
There's so much we can do about aging today. In just 1 week, Pond's age-defying lotion will start reducing lines and wrinkles, make skin firmer, more radiant. No moisturizer can beat it. Why not have younger-looking skin?
How you stop a cold-blooded killer who's not afraid to die. From the #1 runaway bestseller by Dean Koontz, Intensity begins August 5th on Fox.
Among the many impressive cases of UFOs caught on tape, there remain some that simply appear too good to be true. While researchers continue to investigate these baffling images, the main question remains, does the best video evidence offer proof that alien spacecraft are visiting Earth? Or are they the product of clever hoaxers using extraordinary special effects? West Carleton, Canada, 1991. On a small farm, a pulsating, glowing craft was captured on video by an anonymous source. Could this be the first videotaped account of an alien spacecraft landing on terrestrial soil? Bob Exler, a former NASA mission specialist, received the tape in the mail along with strange documents and a fingerprint from a source known only as the Guardian.
In my judgment, the so-called Guardian case is one of the most sophisticated and well-documented UFO cases in history. We have a videotape with some physical evidence from that. There was enough information in the package to suggest a landing site where the event occurred. We found witnesses, eyewitnesses to the event. This was clearly a disc-shaped object with some rather unique-looking appendages.
We don't know what that really represents, but it clearly is the overall shape, and you can see that because the flares in the background are illuminating smoke, which are backlighting this object.
Navy optical physicist Dr. Bruce Maccabee determined that the craft hovering above the field appears to be 25 feet in diameter. He doesn't think it's the work of a Hollywood special effects team.
This was a real event witnessed by some people other than Guardian, which makes this an important case. It's my opinion it's not a hoax.
Dennis DeHate of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police disagrees. He believes the craft is real, but it's nothing unusual.
Most of the people I spoke with indicated that helicopters had been flying in the area for some time, that the sighting was not that of a UFO. In fact, as far as they're concerned, it was a helicopter.
DeHate analyzed the footage as part of a Canadian investigation.
After reviewing all the information, I'm convinced, and I'll always be convinced, that this is a helicopter.
My response to that is it's a ridiculous explanation. And what appears in the video does not look at all like a helicopter.
Stonehenge, England, 1996. This video is perhaps even more intriguing. The video shows two lights circling slowly over a wheat field. Below them, the impression of an intricate crop circle appears.
As if by magic. These things just moving around, and all of a sudden there is this structure. Now, that structure is known as a real structure. It was videotaped and seen by many people after this tape was made.
I think what is so believable about the video is that it does support everything that we had been told accompanied the construction of these mysterious designs. That's very convincing. But of course, it's only one part of the picture.
Cullen Andrews is considered to be the most prominent crop circles researcher, linking UFOs to that phenomenon. When he examined this video, he was determined to learn more about the man who taped these UFOs in action.
Everything we find about the man, the circumstances, his employer, his background, is highly suspicious. We now know that he is a co-owner of a film company, a video suite, where editing is carried out with some very exquisite equipment.
Could this have been what we call a morph, where you start with a beginning image and you start with an ending image and you let the computer fill in the middle, and we think it's more likely a hoax?
I believe it to be a hoax.
Gulf Breeze, Florida, 1993. This rare sequence was shot by contractor Ed Walters. After panning the entire horizon, a small, disc-shaped object appeared overhead, where just before there had been nothing. Then it suddenly disappeared. Could this be a true UFO encounter? were the product of an elaborate hoax.
I know Ed's equipment, which is basically about the simplest type of equipment you could get. That rules out the technical capability to do something sophisticated. I don't believe it was a hoax.
Bob Exler found other supportive evidence in the video by comparing sunlight angles, shadows of buildings, and the object's incredible acceleration.
Most remarkable videotape, one that I could not see any way that could be artificially manufactured.
While the merits of this provocative video continue to be debated, one thing is clear. There is a person walking in the frame at the moment the UFO disappears, making it difficult to hoax. Miami, Florida, 1995. Another dramatic UFO was videotaped by a local resident named Adrain. In a network television first, Adrain's video displays a large, glowing UFO hovering over a residential area. Moments later, the plasma-type craft shrinks to nothing and blinks out. Author and UFO researcher Randolph Winters believes the brightly lit UFO would be impossible to fake.
You may notice in the video, the top of the object appears to glow and light reflects off of it every now and then. If there was an object holding it or somebody holding it or strings of some type, you could probably see it quite easily in the bright light.
Some experts have dismissed the Adrain video because the large glowing craft doesn't appear to cast any light on other objects in the scene. But similar unknown craft have been videotaped at least 3 other times. Juarez, Mexico, 1994. This video, shot through a chain-link fence, shows a small, saucer-shaped UFO with a blinking light at the bottom.
That is typical of an aircraft which has a beacon light that flashes brightly to attract attention.
Almost a year later in Miami, Florida, some tourists captured these amazing UFO images from the window of their car. Again, it's a similar craft with the same saucer shape and beacon light.
We're now going to look at a direct comparison between the UFO in Miami and UFO in Juarez, Mexico. You can see lights flashing underneath these images. And you can also see that they have a bright sort of a central top and a strange, almost like a rim around the outside. What are these things that have been videotaped? An immediate clue is a flashing light because it's standard for aircraft to carry a beacon light that flashes.
This characteristic flashing light, along with some additional information, was crucial to solving the mystery of these 3 unidentified flying objects.
Well, it just so happens that we have already identified some so-called UFOs in the sky that have been photographed and videotaped, which turn out to be internally lighted blimps.
This night footage, recorded in September 1994, was shot in New York by a man who believed that he was seeing a UFO. Investigators discovered that the MetLife blimp had been making trips over nearby Shea Stadium. Dr. Maccabee now believes that he has an explanation that goes beyond a reasonable doubt for the 3 amazing night UFO videos of similar shape and design.
Internally lighted blimps. These are blimps with transparent skin. And they have very bright lights on the inside. The idea is to attract attention because these are advertising blimps. And so here's a case where, in a sense, we won one. We're able to positively identify a UFO.
If UFOs turn out to be merely helicopters or blimps, there is a tendency to conclude there are simple explanations for all the puzzling lights we see in our skies. But what about those UFOs that remain unexplained? Could the answer to their origin also solve the most enduring mystery of all time?
The population has grown to accept the probability that we are not alone, and we may well not even be the most advanced species in the universe. And I think what we are beginning to see now are more than shadow effects of that form of reality.
Coming up, are real alien craft flying over Mexico.
You can see that the trail follows the image, that we're spewing out some sort of matter.
Also, is this UFO video a message to mankind?
They were making a figure. I think it's information.
UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape, returns.
It's an up thing. Does it every time. Yeah, it's an up thing. It's clear and it's It's lemon and lime. It's an up thing.
I can put that spoon down anytime I want.
Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, too irresistible for adults.
You just don't get as much milk with a fork, that's all.
Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
They give us heroes, they give us hope, they let us laugh and cry and fall in love. Movies touch us as few things can. Any technology that heightens the experience of watching movies at home makes life even more enjoyable.
DVD video from Philips Magnavox. Technology for the heart, the spirit, and the imagination.
Tonight at 10, a gunman opens fire outside a Southland school. Now police want to know why. Then, beautiful but deadly, learn how to protect yourself from lightning. And why over 100 dogs and cats are in need of a home. Tonight on Fox 11 News at 10.
I can't believe Vic threw us a party.
Hi, Vic.
You shouldn't have. Come on in.
Hey! He's so cute.
Next time you and your friends crack open a fresh Budweiser, remember to check for the points on the package or bottle cap.
I'll get it. You gotta let it breathe. I'll take that for you. Don't worry about it.
Just getting a jump on the cleaning.
And you'll get great gear like baseball hats, dartboards, even foosball tables.
Thank you.
Collect enough and you could get away with something big.
Always happy to see my friends.
I feel like you don't come over when you say you're coming over, and returning my call seems to be a problem. I mean, things have grown way too complicated. So, I found someone else to be my local phone company. Sprint.
Say hello to new Sprint Sense local service and say goodbye to complicated local phone bills.
So please, be happy for me. Monica.
What are you going to do? About what?
What Sprint did for long distance, they're now doing for local. Call now and get your first month of local phone service free.
It's official. Not only is the 97 Camry the best-selling car in Southern California, Camry's the best-selling car in America. Toyota's most popular car is better than ever. Camry is quieter, roomier, it has more power, and Camry has more standard features. Plus, there's low financing to fit any budget. So buy or lease the incredible 97 Camry at your Toyota dealer today.
I'm sold on you.
One man, two carjackings, a wild police pursuit through two counties on Fox 11 News at 10.
Without a doubt, the most extraordinary display of UFOs caught on video occurred in Mexico. The tremendous number of eyewitnesses, along with their video evidence, makes the UFO activity just south of our borders seem like a virtual invasion. It began during a solar eclipse in 1991, when hundreds of video cameras were pointed toward the skies. This startling video was taken during the eclipse by Guillermo Araguin, a TV network executive. It documents an eerie metallic craft with a saucer-like shape that immediately dazzled Jaime Maussan, one of Mexico's most respected journalists.
I wasn't even in Mexico. When I arrived, they told me, Jaime, a UFO was recorded in the eclipse, and you should see this. And when I saw it, I got so impressed by it that I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw this incredible UFO.
Still more a skeptic than a believer, Maussan recognized the significance of this UFO caught on tape and showed it on primetime TV to the Mexican nation.
I took that piece into television and asked for more videos, and they sent me the videos. And I had been able to collect, so far, 5,000 videos to this moment.
All of them featured strange lights and moving objects that cannot readily be identified as birds, balloons, or airplanes. This extraordinary example, also shot during the eclipse by the Breton family, displays another shiny, hovering object nearly 80 miles east in the city of Puebla, Mexico.
The Breton family clip is so real and so human. It's wonderful because the family's outside, they've got their clock, and they're filming. They move up and they film the object. Again, it's the same type of chip that Mr. Araguin filmed and all of the others, and it's beautifully clear. It's silver, it's disc, it's metallic.
UFO investigator Britt Elders believes that the videos shot during the eclipse in Mexico offer persuasive evidence of the existence of UFOs.
The eclipse was unusual, and it was so important because 17 different people in 4 different cities took video of the same object.
I didn't believe in UFOs. Why should I believe in them? I'd never seen one.
Luis Lara, confirmed skeptic of anything extraterrestrial, set out to videotape the eclipse. But when he raised his camera, he was drawn to the shiny metallic orb that was hovering overhead.
I was so excited and thrilled to show people. I have UFOs. UFOs! That's when I really started to believe in this.
Strange UFOs seen hovering at the same time. In 4 different videos, at 4 different locations, many miles apart. Could they have been balloons or stars? Investigator Elders wanted to find out.
From that point, we took it to computers. We did 3 different programs on where the stars were, what was visible during the eclipse right over Mexico City. And it wasn't a star.
Balloons were also compared and ruled out. Strangely, when the video is enhanced, the silvery orb seems to be disturbing the atmosphere that surrounds it. This general disturbance would be different than you would find in a video of an airplane.
They don't have the disturbance around the entire object, only towards the end of the object. So the object's moving this way, the disturbance is behind. We don't know if it's part of its propulsion system or if it's because the object was actually moving through the air, disturbing the air currents.
You can see again that the trail, if you will, follows the image. The significance of the distortion is that it follows consistently behind the object, the same as if a propulsion system would generate if it were spewing out some sort of matter or some sort of ionization.
We took the footage to Dr. Robert Nathan, considered by many at NASA to be the foremost expert in image processing. He believes that the smoke is a telltale sign of a small man-made object.
If it's a very large model, smoke will tend to move upward in a sharper draft. The fact that this thing is just sort of billowing out very diffusely suggests that the size of the object has to be quite small.
Could this be some secret military craft, unlike any that we know of? No military official, either in Mexico or elsewhere, has made any statements about these discs. Dr. Nathan believes that we have to consider the possibility of a hoax.
The solar eclipse heightens everybody's views to the heavens. Here's a great opportunity to have some fun, but it is a good time to perpetrate a hoax.
If it is a hoax, then it's worldwide, because a few months later, this footage was captured in Mount Unzen, Japan. It reveals what appears to be the same craft, 4,000 miles away.
The object, again, is this hockey puck shape. It has one area that is so black the computer can't read it. The other side of it is lit, but it is almost identical to what was seen during the eclipse in Mexico City.
If these UFOs are piloted craft, many of them appear to be attracted to commercial airliners. Many of Jaime Maussan's videos document dangerous UFO activity in and around Mexico City Airport. These unidentified objects have alarmed both pilots and air traffic controllers. Making things more difficult, UFOs are often sighted visually, but don't show up on the tower's radar screens.
There's something is in their airspace that they don't know what it is. But apparently, it's affecting them, and it's affecting what happens in their aircraft. The controllers and the pilots have told us that their instruments go crazy. They can't get a correct altitude reading, they can't get correct speed, they can't get correct anything. We've had an airliner that has actually claimed to have had a collision with an unknown object in the air.
The experiences the people in the tower of control in the airport in Mexico City are incredible, many incredible experiences. They have seen them with their own eyes over the airport many times. And they had received many reports from pilots, and they have seen sometimes 20, 30, 50 UFOs in the radar, and not one time, many, many times.
Maussan's investigation revealed unprecedented UFO sightings, such as this cluster of 24 UFOs looking like white pearls.
It's 24 different objects moving in different directions, not following one wind pattern or one current, but actually moving in different areas, and you can see them, and then they become stationary.
They were making a figure. I would like to analyze that figures because I think it's information. I think they are trying to tell us something. We are receiving these signals from the sky with this position, these movements, these figures. And that is why I think that video is a very important video.
And these pearls, on occasion, can perform extraordinary stunts, as we see here. Larger UFO clusters were recorded in this remarkable footage. These UFOs appear to be flying in formation. Our aircraft can perform that stunt, but nothing ever built by man, not even our most sophisticated jet fighter or helicopter, can maneuver like the flying object in this amazing video.
The object flies into the cloud, out of the cloud, back into the cloud, out of the cloud. Not only is it saying, look, we're here, but it is displaying a capability of flight that we don't have.
What are we to make of this mysterious UFO activity caught on video? Are these strange aircraft, unlike any of our own, here to investigate us? Or do they have something more sinister in mind? Whatever their purpose, the videotaped evidence from thousands of witnesses proves that their existence cannot be denied.
We, the people, are going to prove that this is truth. Not the scientists, not the authorities, not the military. We, hundreds or thousands of people, with our cameras in our hands, are going to be able to produce the evidence that is going to be seen around the world and is going to prove that this is real and that we are not crazy, we are not lunatics.
Coming up, with the government behind UFO secrets.
The government has covered up things. I think the public is ready to know if anyone has visited us.
Or are aliens already here?
Alien spacecraft have been here. The tape just confirms that.
UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape, returns.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and happy birthday, Walter. Happy birthday. And now, magic. Voila! Empty! Please don't get up, you're too kind. Stay in your chairs. Ow!
His face, a mask of courage. Who are you? His armor.
Awesome hardware.
A living weapon. His mission, a fight for justice.
Back off, hero.
His name, Spawn.
Let's get it over with.
You've been violated, girly rat.
Spawn, rated PG-13, starts Friday. This Tuesday, Fox presents an all-new Alien Nation movie event. It's the ultimate war.
He's got about 50 sticks of dynamite strapped on.
Between man.
He's got a gun.
And alien.
Shoot him! Don't shoot! Shoot him!
Alien Nation, part of Alien Invaders Week, Tuesday at 8/7 Central on Fox.
Summer. All across America. People are having fun in the sun. But who's having the most fun? People who see their Chevy dealer. It's the Chevy Big Value, Big Savings event. Right now, you can get 1.9 APR financing or a great smart lease on a whole bunch of Chevy cars and trucks. It just doesn't get any better than this, America. Chevy has always had a great reputation for value. And now, wow, there'll never be a better time to get a 97 Chevy than during the Chevy Big Value, Big Savings event. It's big.
I love to get online and it says, you have mail.
You can get the weather, you can talk gardening.
America Online makes doing all the things you do easier.
Check my stocks, sports scores.
You can buy flowers, you can buy a lot of stuff.
America Online. Simple to install, friendly menus, easy to use. And we've been working night and day to increase capacity 75%, all to make your online experience easier.
I sent my daughter an email. She couldn't believe it.
America Online. So easy to use, no wonder it's #1.
mystical land lived a people fighting for survival.
You want to die too?
No! Their only salvation, a child of awesome power.
Show me your pain.
The powerful feared his magic.
I have to find him.
The heroic must stop his murder.
You were chosen.
The epic battle for a nation's soul. Roar, next on Fox.
Tonight, you've witnessed some of the most spectacular footage ever presented of UFO phenomena. But what exactly have you seen? Is the military testing secret aircraft above our cities? Are clever individuals creating spectacular hoaxes? Or are aliens observing us from their technologically advanced spaceships?
It's not like any aircraft I've ever seen. Doesn't behave like balloons, didn't look like a blimp. What was it?
It was just weird. The second you see it, you look at it and go, that's not an aircraft. What is that?
In an attempt to discern whether these videotaped images of unidentified flying craft were actually military craft or possible alien technology, we turn to former government authority Admiral Bobby Ray Inman.
The shots in Mexico interested me. There's clearly something there that you can see. And my first reaction, since I wasn't looking for an unidentified object from distant planets, was to say, could that be a deployed mission tracking the flow of narcotics?
Although Admiral Inman is intrigued by the footage, he is apprehensive to speak publicly because he has been misquoted in the past by UFO researchers.
One of the problems I've had with people who are true believers in UFOs is that they take out of context or misinterpret what I've said.
But Inman had definite opinions about what we showed.
All of it's interesting. All of the shots, and instantly the mind engages to decide, is there a plausible explanation?
Whatever it is that continues to haunt our skies, thanks to video cameras, more and more of us are capturing evidence of the UFO phenomenon for ourselves. According to recent statistics, half of the American population believes UFOs exist, that the U.S. government knows more about them than it's telling us.
The government has covered up things. And I cannot know, as a fact, whether or not there is any cover-up here.
While many researchers still believe that a flying saucer crashed near Roswell, New Mexico 50 years ago, the United States Air Force recently released what they call their final report. They concluded there was no UFO crash, and every eyewitness report of an alien body was actually a crash test dummy used in high-altitude parachuting drops.
I don't think the Americans should believe anything that our government says about Roswell. How could we? They denied that it existed for so long. Then it was a weather balloon. Now it's a super secret weather balloon. Who knows what it'll be next week?
Interestingly, the report was released upon the 50th anniversary of the Roswell incident, and at a time when UFOs are being videotaped more than ever. Some researchers think that our government is not being honest.
I believe that the government has information related to sightings, which indicates that flying saucers are real. Some sort of other intelligences are flying craft around in our air and have been doing so since 1947.
But former government officials have steadfastly denied the government is withholding any UFO evidence.
Never once did I find any evidence inside the U.S. intelligence community that would validate, that would make certain that in fact not only had there been alien craft, but somehow the U.S. had accessed them.
Is it a coincidence that our American president seemed interested in UFOs? Before he was president, Jimmy Carter saw a UFO and even reported it to authorities. Subsequent presidents also expressed their concern about visitors from outer space.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
And in Belfast, Ireland, President Clinton recently stated, "As far as I know, an alien spacecraft did not crash in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. If the U.S. Air Force did recover any alien bodies, they didn't tell me about it either, and I want to know." Astronaut Story Musgrave feels that whether or not the government has covered up the existence of UFOs, our nation is ready to handle the truth, whatever that might be.
I think the public is ready to accept any information. I think the public is ready to know if anyone has visited us. They can accept that, and they want it.
Whether UFOs are from Earth or beyond remains a mystery. But the larger question, of course, concerns extraterrestrial life itself.
But is there a possibility that there is some form of life out in space?
That's what we're still pursuing and trying to find out.
As our current exploration of Mars continues with NASA rovers, perhaps one day NASA's cameras will roll up to this controversial structure known as the face on Mars, which many believe was created by an advanced civilization. Maybe when the mystery of this monument is solved, we will be closer to knowing if life did in fact exist on a planet so close to ours. But according to some inside sources, alien life may already be here on planet Earth.
The Defense Department could right now confirm that we have these alien spacecraft. Alien spacecraft have been here, they are here, and will continue to be here. The tape just confirms that.
UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape, will return.
1-800-COLLECT presents Max Jerome, Private Eye.
Better call and tell them we're going to be late.
You could save up to 44% if you dialed 1-800-COLLECT.
You're going to need that 44% when you get my bill.
1-800-COLLECT is the easy way to save up to 44%.
Excuse me, miss. Does that camera of yours give you easy drop-in loading like this? No way. What you need is an advanced photo system like Kodak Advantix. It's a special kind of film. It's a different kind of camera. It's a better way to take pictures. Further.
Would you like to try some Kellogg's Corn Pops?
Thank you.
Go ahead. Take 2. Corn Pops today. They're very good.
The problem with a cereal that's made like popcorn, only sweeter,
Just one, please.
is that it disappears like popcorn, only faster.
What? And how are things going?
Fast.
Kellogg's Corn Pops. It's hard to stop when it's Pops.
Whoa. Now you're talking the Nike Air Super CB.
CB is in CB?
Bingo.
Did you tell him how stable they are?
I'm getting there.
Did you tell him how great they are for rebounds?
Getting there.
So, they working for you, Charles?
What do you think?
You better get back.
Check them out.
There you go.
What channel is that?
Nike basketball shoes available at Foot Locker, where it all begins.
It's the way the sun helps things grow in their own time. It's the way bread begins as an ocean of wheat before rising in the oven. The way onions can make you cry, even when you're laughing. And it's the way we make over 1 million people their favorite sandwich every day, which, in case you're keeping track, is more sandwiches than the entire population of North Dakota. Subway. It's the way a sandwich should be.
Imagine something in your past when your world was invaded and innocence shattered. Now the terror has found you again, and you will turn and fight. Dean Koontz' bestseller becomes a miniseries event, Intensity, Tuesday, August 5th on Fox. Parental discretion advised. It's time to fight back. Drugs, gangs, and guns. Fox Undercover shows you the group that's wiping out crime in the Southland. The Pace Platoon, tonight on Fox 11 News at 10.
With public interest in UFOs at an all-time high, more and more people are arming themselves with video cameras in hopes of capturing the definitive evidence which could determine what these strange craft are and where they come from. If we use this tool effectively in the pursuit of truth and not succumb to the temptation to create sensational hoaxes for profit, fame, or mere kicks, the UFO evidence you record may one day be touted as the best ever caught on tape. Watch the skies and focus.
Sunday, Beyond Belief returns with brand new mysteries. Sunday at 7/6 Central on Fox. This September,
We have an unknown aircraft bearing 225.
company is coming.
Flight leader, you are red and free to engage unknown.
And the question, are we alone, will finally be answered by one unexpected guest.
We got him, sir.
From the director and producer of Independence Day.
We need him alive. We just need him.
The Visitor, Fridays this fall on Fox.
In
a land of 100 warring tribes, a young prince comes of age. Having lost his family and the woman he cherished, he has sworn to unite his people and defend his home. Bent on destroying him is a Roman queen, Diana, and her eternal love, Longinus, a 400-year-old man who cannot die. Between history and myth, a great battle will be waged in the name of a timeless power called the Roar.
Ma? Gloss. Oh, Gloss.
I never thought I'd be witness to this. There's a boy of a choice. It's his destiny.
Welcome, Father. Long ago, at the edge of the known world, the last Celtic tribes were fighting for survival. Europe had fallen to the Romans, and this remote and untamed island was the final stronghold of the ancient ways.
Is brought to you by Cinnamon Toast Crunch, with cinnamon and sugar swirled all over for the taste you can see.
Oh yeah, you're an adult. We're impressed. Eating those grown-up cereals. Well, here's a whole grown-up thing that's news to you. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon and sugar swirled all over squares of wheat and rice. Good, huh? Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's the adult thing to do.
This is the Coke that came with the cap that got the special MasterCard, that got the cash, that bought the gas, that powered the car, that carried the boys to the place with the pool, that had the surprise, that changed the lives of both the guys that bought the Coke that came with the cap that got the special MasterCard, that got the cash. Got it? Now get the Coke.
Education.
Give Cesar your book so he can read.
Intimidation.
187, that's the police code for homicide.
Violence.
What you gonna do?
Destruction.
Are you finished? There's nothing more you can do to me.
Murder.
You can't expect the system to protect us.
You know what to do. The things it takes for some people to finally get it.
And don't you feel safer with Benny gone?
Samuel L. Jackson, 187. Rated R. Starts Wednesday, July 30th at a theater near you.
This is where we talk girl talk.
This is where I let my hair down.
This is where we put our feet up.
This is where we like to shop. This is where I go to think.
This is where we like to relax.
This is where I get my best ideas.
And this is the place to find it all.
Pier 1.
Pier 1.
Pier 1.
Pier 1. We've got the look that's right for you. Find it now at Pier 1 Imports. It's your home. Make it great.
Rumor has it there's a Porsche owner out there who also owns a Saturn. And sometimes he races it. Hard to believe? Well, it's even harder to find, because Porsche owners haven't been very forthcoming.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's the biggest crock.
Still, it is something we wanted to see, especially when we heard that sometimes he wins. Well, it is just a rumor.
When is heartburn worst for you?
After a rotten day at work.
After pizza, I really pay the price.
Zantac 75 works for me.
Zantac 75 starts working fast.
Faster than Pepsid AC. And it's so safe, it's got no drug interaction warnings.
Zantac 75 contains the #1 prescription acid-reducing medicine.
Zantac 75's the smart choice.
For my worst heartburn.
Zantac 75, the final word in heartburn relief.
Man versus alien.
Who's got a gun?
May the best species win.
Shoot him! Don't shoot him!
An all-new Alien Nation movie, Tuesday on Fox. Nostradamus, his predictions have hypnotized the world. The Gulf War, the Moonwalk, assassinations. Now the special that takes a terrifying journey into the unthinkable.
History is going to come to an end.
And his most fearful prediction is just ahead.
Watch for something falling from the skies.
Prophecies of the Millennium, Wednesday at 8, 7 Central on Fox.
Would you like some wine, Father?
Look at this, then. Look at it. I see it. This one cut the hair off a dog, much less a Roman's head. Are you hearing me? I've committed the whole story to memory. A weapons maker back at the boys' village. A junk man. A junk man. He forged me a brittle sword. A pig stick.
So you beat him like a mule and tore up his shop.
He's lucky I didn't tear out his tongue, the lying vermin. What if I carried this pathetic twig into battle, or the rest of the trash he sold me?
Is there anything else you'd like to complain about, Fergus?
You offering reparations to the weasel. The leader bends only to justice, and justice was clearly with me.
We need Sinshar on the side of unity, Fergus. His village gave us the new Druid king.
And I didn't bend. I made a gesture. So did I, by kicking in the sodhead's teeth. If you had more experience.
Fergus, if you want to lead the Alliance, you're welcome to the job. I didn't ask for it.
You were chosen.
Right. Just like the boy. Destiny, remember?
What was that?
There's another one over here. Sweet Bridget. Any man who kills a shaman kills his own soul. Safe journey.
No sign of their horses.
What about the third druid?
And the father?
Who did this?
Our father must reach Kabod. Please, protect him.
Oh, no. Connor.
Are you all right? Are you all right?
I want to go home.
Searched as far as the river. I found 2 horses. No trace of the druid or the boy.
If you were a better shot, we'd be paid on our way by now.
I had him dead, I swear. The boy's charmed.
The boy's still a boy. And he'll run home tomorrow.
What? What is it?
He's so young. Why did the druids pick a child?
They believe the last father's spirit lives within him.
Is there a problem?
This isn't the way to my village.
We're taking you to Kabod.
What's there?
Fergus, would you like to explain things?
Every druid on the island is waiting to honor your father. It's your time now. They'll all be looking for direction.
What happened to your hair?
He traded it for a new sword. A pig stick.
Who are they?
I don't know. Fergus.
That looks like the fella from the father's village.
It's Insure. He doesn't look very happy to see us.
There they are!
I'm gonna kill that junk man.
Come
here, boy.
I have him!
God, you're right.
Get Ginger! Go!
Unless you want him dead.
Finish him, Connor. These bastards killed the druids.
No, they didn't. Blunt head. No wings. This could barely stop a deer.
We've killed no one. We only want the father. He belongs to our tribe.
It is my understanding he belongs to everyone.
Critics agree.
How often can you say that nowadays?
Picture Perfect clicks. It's a summer winner.
Congratulations!
The perfect date movie.
I feel like I can be honest with you.
You should really ignore all those feelings.
The year's best romance.
I suddenly realized I haven't told you how beautiful you look today.
Jennifer Aniston is perfect.
Really?
Picture Perfect.
Good.
Great.
Great.
Good.
Rated PG-13. Friday, only in theaters.
Whoa.
Now you're talking the Nike Air Super CB.
CB isn't CB?
Bingo.
Did you tell him how stable they are?
I'm getting there.
Did you tell him how great they are for rebounds?
Getting there.
So, they working for you, Charles?
What do you think?
You better get back.
Check them out.
There you go.
What channel is that?
Nike basketball shoes available at Foot Locker, where it all begins.
Out here, it's Monday. In here, it's Friday.
Now introducing Friday's Jack Daniel's Grill. Delicious entrees basted in a sweet Smoky Mountain Jack Daniel's sauce. The new Jack Daniel's Grill at Fridays. Good name.
viel größer, sie geglaubt hat.
The Pepsi Stuff catalog is back, and you won't believe what's inside.
I've told you 1,000 times, no playing with professional athletes in the house.
Mom, this year's Pepsi Stuff is the coolest collection ever. You can even win a chance to hang with your favorite sports star.
You role models should really know better.
Drink a